In 1949, my parents made the big move from Rockford, Illinois to Southern California, along with 3 very tiny children and all their household possessions. My mother had carefully wrapped and packed many precious family heirlooms, including 4 cartons of her mother's hand-painted dinner china. Grandma had painted this lovely set herself, choosing a forget-me-not pattern. Unfortunately, something happened during the move. One box of the china didn't quite make it. It never arrived at our new house, so my mother had only 3/4 of the set. She had plates of different sizes and some serving pieces, but missing were the cups and saucers and the bowls. Often at family gatherings or when we would sit down for a Thanksgiving dinner, my mother would say something about the missing china and how she wished it had survived the trip. When my mother died in 1983, I inherited grandmother's china. I, too, used the set on many special occasions, and I, too, wondered what had happened to the missing box. I love to prowl antique shops and flea markets, hunting for treasures. It's great fun to walk up and down the aisles early in the morning, watching as the vendors spread their wares on the ground. I hadn't been to a flea market in over a year when, one Sunday in 1993, I got the itch to go. So I crawled out of bed at 5 a.m. and drove an hour in the pre-dawn darkness to the giant Rose Bowl flea market in Pasadena. I walked up and down the outdoor aisles, and after a couple of hours, I was thinking about leaving. I rounded the last corner and took a few steps down the row when I noticed some china strewn on the macadam. I saw that it was hand-painted china with forget-me-nots. I raced over to look at it more closely and gingerly picked up a cup and saucer. Forget-me-nots, with the same delicate strokes and the same thin gold bands around the rims. I looked at the rest of the items. There were the cups, the saucers, the bowls. It was grandmother's china. The dealer had noticed my excitement, and when she came over, I told her the story of the missing box. She said the china had come from an estate sale in Pasadena, the next town over from Arcadia, where we had lived when I was a child. When she was going through the contents of the estate, she had found an old unopened carton stored in the garden shed, and the china was in it. She questioned the heirs about the china, and they said they knew nothing about it, and that the box had been in the shed forever. I left the Rose Bowl flea market that day laden with my amazing treasure. Even now, 6 years later, I am filled with wonder that all the pieces in the universe tumbled together to let me find the missing china. What would have happened if I had slept in? What gave me the itch to go to the Rose Bowl on that particular day? What if I hadn't turned that last corner, choosing instead to leave and rest my aching feet? Last week, I had a dinner party for 15 friends. We used grandmother's china, and at the end of the meal, I proudly served coffee in those beautiful cups and saucers that had been missing for so long.